y'all fine this morning. I imagine that's not the case. After all, the Cowboys found a way to mess up your Christmas. I understand these things. I understand that you're hurt right now. I understand that you're struggling a little bit. You're hurt. Your heart's hurt right now. I know. That old Stevie A tried to tell you, but you didn't want to listen to him. I tried to be there for you, but you didn't want to listen. And now, 3 days before Christmas, 3 days before those presents were to be opened, suddenly your Christmas is ruined. Suddenly you ain't looking for Santa Claus, are you? You ain't looking for him to stroll down that chimney. You're not looking for him to sit up there and bless your heart with the gift of giving, spirit of giving. It's Christmas time after all. Feeling a little bit lonely right now, aren't you? Hold on. But I got a present for you. Yeah. Ah! Stevie A here. Got a little gift for you. It's Christmas time. This gift right here is especially for all of you Cowboy fans out there. I'm gonna open this up in a little bit, but not before I talk about you. Kick my music, please.
A mediocre team and Big D. That's what makes this funny. How about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? Some way, somehow, when it counts, just wait. They will let you down. The accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident, the accident, the accident, waiting to happen. It will happen. I'm predicting they're gonna be irrelevant. I'm predicting an absolute embarrassment for the last decade and a half. They make me laugh. All the talent that they have is unbelievable, man. Big D, teasing you. This is what they do. The weed show from on cue. Accident, something will go wrong. The accident of the big Jumbotron. Accident, gotta recognize it's a black cat running around that franchise. Say it with accident, they will mess it up. Just wait. The accident, they will let you down. Just wait. The accident.
Unbelievable. Good morning. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Full desk. Our coach, Rex Ryan, is here. Merry Christmas, Coach.
Oh, Merry
Good to see
Christmas.
you. Max Kellerman.
Yes.
I'm Molly Karen Rose.
Wish me a happy Hanukkah.
Happy
it's actually
Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. By the way,
Start.
the world gave you an early Hanukkah present, Stephen A. The universe
Happy
did.
Hanukkah
Yes,
to
it
everybody
did.
that's celebrating.
What's going on, big boy?
Stephen A. Smith, how we doing this morning?
Absolutely marvelous weekend.
Yeah?
I must say. There's a lot to talk about today. I'm looking forward to it, but I want to announce to the world that I imagine that on a day like today, Dallas Cowboy fans are miserable across the world. As I predicted, they had their Christmas ruined. Christmas would be this Wednesday. Time to open the gifts and be festive. All them little Cowboy fans across the world. I mean, I imagine this is a difficult time for them. Don't worry about it.
You brought a gift?
Stevie A got a gift. This
Oh,
gift
that's so
right
nice.
now is especially for Cowboy fans all over the world. I'll open it a little bit later on in the show.
Wow.
Yes,
Can't
some
wait for
showmanship,
that.
ladies and
This
gentlemen.
is my gift to the Dallas
That
Cowboy
is so
fans
nice.
across the world. I'll open it later on in the show.
so
They will
sweet
know
of
what
you.
that gift is. It's
Tis
very-
the season.
I think this is
Yeah. Listen, I'm glad you're happy because I'm not, Max. We'll talk about our Giants after.
All right, guys, don't even start.
They
Don't
clearly
even start.
don't want Chase Young, but that's all good. We've only been told he's better than the Bosa brothers, but that's for another day. All right, guys, how about them Cowboys? They had a chance to clinch the division, but couldn't get it done. Huge props to Carson Wentz and the Eagles on the 17-9 win and taking the lead in the division for the first time this season. Everybody was talking about Jason Garrett after the loss. Stephen A.,
Yes.
would you have a problem if Jason Garrett's coaching in Week 17?
Personally, I would. I think it's time for him to go. He should have been fired before Thanksgiving. He should have been fired immediately after Thanksgiving, and he damn sure should be fired now. The Dallas Cowboys had a division crown on the line. I harken back to a few years ago. I think it was like around 2013, 2014, that kind of thing, where it was back-to-back-to-back 8-8 seasons. The interesting part of that, as I brought up on numerous occasions, is that they were 8-8. They were 8-7 at the time. The division crown was on the line. It was the last game of the regular season. You win, you in. You lose, you go home. and they lost all 3 years. And it wasn't and it wasn't just to some nemesis. It was to the entire division. One year it was to the Eagles, the other year it was to the Giants.
Equal opportunity.
The other time it was to the Redskins. And so now here we are, we fast forward to 2019. It's not the last game of the regular season, it's the penultimate game of the regular season. For those of you who don't understand what penultimate means, that means next to last. Here's the deal. You got a division crown on the line, you win, because you already beat the Eagles earlier, you stomped them 37-10. You lose, you don't control your destiny. It's in the Eagles' hands. And what do? You can't even score one touchdown. You can't even score one touchdown. Not one touchdown. There were dropped passes, Michael Gallup. There was overthrown passes, Dak Prescott to Tavon Austin. They started off the game, their first 5 possessions, was 3 and out, a field goal, then 4 and out, 4 and out. Those are their first 5 possessions of the game, Couldn't do anything offensively. If it wasn't for the Philadelphia Eagles punting and giving you a good field position, Lord knows what would have happened to you. These are the Dallas Cowboys. Now, they did say that Dak Prescott had a sore shoulder. I do believe I recall that being newsworthy last week. Didn't practice, took cortisone shot. And what does this man do, Max Kellerman? He comes out and he throws the ball 44 times. And you run the football. Now, mind you, you run the football to Ezekiel Elliott 13 times. This is my last point. The Philadelphia Eagles in 2017 had the #1 rushing defense, in football.
Yeah.
They gave the ball to Ezekiel Elliott anyway when they beat him. The Philadelphia Eagles had the #7 rushing defense last year. Still gave the ball to Ezekiel Elliott. But somehow they had the #3 rushing defense now. Suddenly you don't give them the football.
Look.
And oh, by the way, that 47 yards rushing against the Rams for Ezekiel Elliott in the playoffs. 47 yards rushing against the Minnesota Vikings in the loss that was a big loss for the Cowboys. And 47 yards rushing yesterday.
You're absolutely right about the play calling.
Can't mess it up.
You're absolutely right about Garrett's play calling. And I think a lot of times coaches run on early downs too often and run when they shouldn't, and they bring out jumbo packages, and so they're telegraphing what you're going to do, and they run when they shouldn't. But you cannot abandon the run game. You can't. Even if you get no yards, even if you lose a yard, there must be the threat of the run, or that's football 101. And coaches who totally get away from it, especially when they have a stud, in a way, it demoralizes the team, coach, it seems to me, because you know the other team has gotten you to break or at least bend right away and get away from what you're supposed to be doing. But, look, if you fired Garrett now, I wouldn't say, it's the worst mistake in the world. The only thing I'll say is this. There is a little sliver, there's a little chance for him to turn it around still.
What?
And this is the way the NFC East works in particular. I could see the Eagles, Coach, we were talking about it before, I could see the Eagles losing to an idiotic Giants team right now that's still trying to win games. And I could see the Cowboys winning their last game and then getting the division. It's not over yet. And to switch coaches now, unless you think there's going to be a bounce, which sometimes happens, I just don't see it last week of the season. I would stay as is. Also, when you talk about the reasons for losing that game yesterday, I would have Garrett's play calling 4th. I would say, if you want me to list the people who deserve credit, Miles Sanders, who I told everyone might be the best back on the field, Jim Schwartz, Malcolm Jenkins, I put 3rd. I put Garrett's play calling 4th as the reasons that you lost that game if you're Dallas. It is a game in which he got himself fired. He will not retain his job. Maybe Dak got him fired. Dak also probably got Garrett fired and played himself into a franchise tag. But I wouldn't fire him with the season still in the balance. Much stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I wouldn't fire him either, but I'm going to tell you, my rankings would be this. It's the organization. You sat back, you got all this, you collected all this talent, and you lost that game because you're soft. I've been telling you you're soft. You got away from running the football. I'm sorry, but this guy's one of the best running backs in the league. And I don't care that they stole you on 1st down. What happened to 2nd and 3rd down? Keep running the ball. The fact he doesn't carry the ball, Zeke doesn't carry it at least 30 times, is a mistake. He's your best player. and then it's unexcusable not to have Amari Cooper on the field at the end of the game. I don't care if they double him. Who cares? You got the guy in. You gave a first-round pickup. Why? Because he's supposed to be able to beat double coverage. Throw him the football. That's the only place that the ball can go on a fourth down in that situation. In fact, he's on the sideline. If you want to throw it to him, he's over there on the sideline. I have no idea who made that decision, but it's ridiculous. Did they drop balls? 6 drops. That means your team's not ready to play. That's what it looked like to me. Poor tackling, all that kind of stuff. You ain't ready to play. And in the biggest time of the year, you have a chance to win that division. It's ridiculous. I would keep him as the coach because right now, what are you going to give Chris Sharpe the job for one game?
No.
I think it's a mistake.
See, it's attitudes like that got y'all in a different place than me. First of all, there does come a point in time where you have to say enough's enough, and you have to send the message. It's not about my feelings about you personally. It's not about our friendship. You have done such a disastrous job. I have to make this call. Now, the only excuse is if the season's lost, and as a result, you don't want to fire the man on Christmas. You understand? That's about it. But I said you should have fired him before Thanksgiving. I said you should have fired him the morning after Thanksgiving. You see, because
should have fired him before the season started. That's the problem.
Wait a minute. We all know that.
Right.
Well, listen, I beat you to it. He should have fired him in 2013. Okay, so the bottom line has been saying about the last. Of course, he should have fired him before. He should have fired him before every season. We get that. But the point that I'm trying to make is the topic is this season. And when you consider what has transpired, now, first of all, understand something here. And all of y'all have missed this. I'm very, very shocked, especially you, Max, that you missed this. Do you know that there is one thing that could actually be better than what has happened already?
Yeah.
Did y'all know that? You know what that is? What if the Eagles lose to the Giants? But the Cowboys game against the Redskins ain't over. And then they know that all you got to do is beat the Redskins, and you're in. And they managed to lose that game. Could you imagine what that would be like this Sunday? I mean, you have any idea how beautiful that would be?
By the way, you're right. That
Or
was
they
missed.
could win
He's
it.
right.
Yes.
He's right.
Yeah.
That's
Could you
the
imagine
ultimate Cowboys.
Now keep in
Or
mind.
they could win it.
Now keep this. Yeah, I understand. Or they could win it because they win. If the Eagles lose and they win,
but that's
but
not
what
what
I'm
they
saying is
would
this: if the Eagles were to lose, but they lost, and it was still a few minutes left in the Cowboys-Redskins game, and you saw that the Eagles lost,
Be
and you
another
still have a
heartbreaker
chance.
for you.
Oh,
And another celebration.
heartbreaker.
This is someone.
All right, we gotta
Do you
go. We
understand?
gotta
This
go.
is someone who stays up at night
Yeah.
thinking of these
Oh, my
scenarios.
God.
Oh, my
telling you, man.
goodness.
I'm just
Coach,
telling you.
thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you,
Happy
guys.
holidays.